Welcome to Open Tech Talks.tv. Let's welcome our today's guest, Maxim Salav, to the show.
Hi, dear listeners.
Thank you so much, Maxim, for joining. So if you can introduce yourself, where are you based, what you do for a living?
Thank you. Very good question. I live in Australia. I do architecture and solve technical debts within organizations of any kind. And more importantly, I not only trying to solve technical debt, I do solve technical debt problem to teach companies to manage their technical debt. And especially when it comes to security, to architecture, to engineering processes, and etc.
Okay. And when you say technical debt, for maybe listeners, if you can explain it, what do you mean? And when they consider that it is a technical debt?
Yeah, technical debt is something which is often confused. I would say it's a gap between how systems work today and how they should work in our vision or in our business leaders' minds to support the future.
Mm-hmm.
Like financial debt, technical debt is fine to be managed, but at the same time, it's toxic when hidden. Leaders should care because unmanaged debt directly slows down any digital transformations or any improvements of their product. And of course, it increases risk.
Okay. Now, maybe if we talk about last 2 years with this AI and generative AI, so is it adding to the tech debt? If yes, it adds. Okay. And if it
adds
does,
a lot. Yes, yeah,
okay.
it does.
And if it does, then okay. If it does, then how you are helping your customers or maybe your clients to get over it?
That's a very good question. First of all, let's speak about how it adds. Because AI itself is a tool for some certain activities. Some people use it for coding, and that works up to a certain extent. But at the same time, when we substitute real developer with vibe coding, generally, I would ask a question: who is taking the responsibility? In terms of when we are hiring developer takes the responsibility, right? You can ping him in the middle of night and ask, okay, dear gentleman, you just made this mistake. It was an unintentional debt. Okay, come and fix it. But
Right.
because our production is down, for instance, it's a bad option, right? But for AI, whom we will ping in the middle of night, Bill Gates or someone else, I don't know. That's the first thing. The second thing is when we use AI, AI itself creates code which is written by, so it's like a combination of different many sources, and we have to properly understand what we are going to build. We shall create a good prompt, good task, like for a normal engineer. But at the same time, this AI shall bring up the testing, so it shall conduct the release cycles, shall understand what is in our mind when we asking him to do something. And that is another important thing. But let's leave it.
Okay.
Separate
All right.
discussion.
Yeah, sure. So now maybe with this generative AI, have you observed what is the new way of building an architecture, or what is the influence we are getting from the large language models?
New way of building architecture. To me, it's not a new way. To me, we still require architecture. AI cannot, of course, AI can draw schemes, diagrams, or whatever, but AI cannot substitute the communication. Architecture is 70% consists of communication. We have to understand different points of view, can understand different requirements, then compile it all together and produce a product. So output. So question to you, can I do all this for us? What do you think?
No, human communication, yes, that's true, but eventually now taking an input for building an architecture. It can be your advisory to it. And even maybe you can go into those areas or fields which were very unknown to you. And you can have a discussion or a chat with that. And then you can take it as your assistant to help you, to support you for clarifying those technical stuff which you are trying to build it. Earlier, you used to go and talk to someone and then get that knowledge. So I see it as a support function for building an architecture compared to earlier where we spend more time. Now the timeline is shorter.
Assistant.
Yeah. Okay. So now, based on your experience, maybe over the last 2 years, what are the challenges which organizations are facing to adopt generative AI and bring it within the existing ecosystem?
To me, I see three challenges, major challenges. First is how to feed in all the knowledge base to feed in correctly. Of course, we can supply all documents we have into AI, but it won't work that way. So we have to structure the structure, and we have to split access. For example, there are some documents which are restricted, some documents which are classified as with different sort of restriction, and when they are fed all together, these limits are diluted. So there have to be several models to bring models with certain areas of knowledge. And that's the first challenge I met with the big organizations who tried to launch their own models within. The second one is to proper incorporate AI into their business processes, because they worked 20 years without AI. Then AI came to the scene, and now it sounds like a hype, but it may be overhyped. But everyone is trying to accommodate AI within their organization. And the second challenge is to find a proper way to use it and to make it to produce more valuable result rather than just to make AI, just use AI because we have to, because everyone else does that. And the third one, I'm talking about big enterprises. I'm not talking about small ones who can use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But for big organizations, there is another challenge is to maintain. We can deploy AI language model, we can train it, we can run it, but time to time we need to retrain it. We need to improve our base, and that requires a separate department who will be doing all this training and guarantee the quality.
Yeah, the life cycle of the deployment.
Yeah.
Okay. And over the years, now while you work with these large enterprises, do you think they are also realizing it that that enterprise architecture is still relevant, and then they don't need to get dragged with just going for some use cases Gen AI just for the sake of Gen AI adopting it and ignoring it, how their existing ecosystem is working, rather than, let's go and shop for something on use case on Gen AI. Is this some behavior you're noticing it, or?
Up to a certain extent. Very good question, by the way. So AI changed our approach to what we do with engineering a lot. That's definitely, we can split our life before and after.
Right. True.
Yes. And when we are trying, now we are in a kind of transition period where most enterprises they are trying to adopt the strategies which are not yet known, because AI is still in its early days, right? So we can imagine what can happen in 10 years. I don't know. I cannot guess even.
Right.
No one guessed.
Right.
But we are all, I see it as a big research mechanism, like a big research task. We have a tool. Let's imagine the picture. In your backyard, you've got a alien spaceship landed, and all
Right.
islands disappeared. You see it and you try to figure it out. What to do with this? Like you open this, I don't know, try to fly. And that is what currently happens with AI. So we got a technology which we are trying to get use of, but in many cases we're trying to, find a very, very smart way to use it and to make most out of it. And
Mhm.
enterprises are, I think they are the first who are trying to make most out of this area in technology.
Okay. Right. Um, how's the things with respect to AI strategy or as an organization? What is the experience that are they taking it just okay, go ahead and let's try out some Gen AI use case? Or they are going very structured approach that no, we need to have an AI strategy in place, we need to have an AI quadrant, or all those processes in place, and then we'll go ahead exploring or shortlisting. What is the common trends which you're observing it?
That looks like, you know, we first need to explore, then we need to apply. It's like making X-ray before surgery, right? So of course we can make a surgery before, but what the result will be, right? No, the probability is less. So we need to understand what we are building, and the big enterprises currently, most of them are in the state of research. They're doing what to do with this. I observe this behavior. They are touching us very, very slowly integrate into their ecosystem. But once integrated, it will be our friend forever.
Right, right, right. True. So now there's a general talk with that, okay, LLMs are good, excellent, but bringing them to ecosystem is the major challenge. And
Correct.
how to bring them. Is there any experience you are going through with your customers or clients? And any tips? We keep in mind that okay, if you can share something for listeners, they can take it up if you're following some process.
Very good question. I think I am in the middle of such process. We are integrating not automated coding tools. Of course, we have that in the
Yeah.
first place. Automatic coding tools, designing tools, all this stuff which is on market, we already tried. What we do is more tailored solution for our business needs, and we're deploying our own language models within organizations I work with. What these businesses are taking care of is my key point, technical debt when we adopting the models, because no one knows, as we know, no one knows that what can happen in 10 years, right?
Right.
We cannot imagine even what happened in 2 years,
True. True.
and
True.
how these models will be developed. So what they are will look like in 2 years. So therefore, we have to be very, very careful when we are planning ahead, because everything can change. And when we deploy the model, we have to clearly understand what we are going to use it for. Not just because to claim, okay, guys, I just deployed a language models and I have some ideas what I'm going to do with it. Clear statement, what we are going to achieve, what is the goal, and why we need this model, not that model. And this eventually that will come to bring us to the position when we understand how to train it, because it depends on how we're going to use it.
Right. Okay. And is there a situation where people or organizations or enterprises preferring that okay, I want to build my own, or maybe I just buy it some, it's a old traditional way of using the any technology, that okay, I don't need to invest so much and then I will just whatever available in the market and I go and then acquire it and start using it. So where, what do you see?
I see, again, my clients are big organizations,
Hmm.
and they can afford purchasing their own models, but they most of them don't do that. They plan to do that in some future. They have budgets for that. But they are currently in the way of digesting how they properly use this model in markets. For example, one of my clients who integrated the already integrated model, they use it for support services, their own support services within the organization. It's a huge organization with tens of thousands of people, and they use language model to automate the support requests. But to me, it looks like overhead from architecture point of view, because they have to train that on all the documents they have. They had to launch the department who will be looking after this model. And at the same time, if we taught model how to process support, we later can apply this knowledge to something else. For example, we can make launch on the same canvas. We can launch another model which is trained on the documentation to support external developers who will be operating with our knowledge, or some product people who will be building some products on top of the existing products. So that's the models. Models are bringing a foundation right now.
Okay. And is there any like a sample or a reference architectures being emerged that, okay, if you want to go and take generative AI into your organization, this is a common architecture you should be following up? Is there something is coming up in the market? Have you observed it or not yet?
I don't see that's a kind of general approach. The general approach is, okay, we can take any SaaS solution on the market. We can take ChatGPT, we can
Right.
take Claude, any other, and use it. Try it before we buy it.
Try before.
So we try this solution and understand how it will satisfy our needs when we download and deploy it within our organization. But I don't see there's some like one size fits all solution. There should be some individual approach how to install, how to maintain deploy the model, because as I said before, it's very important to understand how you're going to use it for. And this ChatGPT and Claude and any other models, they are just like a testing playground.
Right.
We tried, we see how it works, and will we work within our organization, how it will be before deploying our own.
All right. So now as you have a decades of experience in enterprise architecture. All right. So how you are keeping updated with these all developments?
When you say all developments,
I mean, knowledge from a knowledge point of view, upgrading your knowledge with these generative AI and all, how you are learning?
I'm learning through trying.
Okay.
So all the I keep myself updated with the information. I spend several hours a week to try doing something, following the updates. It's not just following the YouTube videos how to make a new how to start my model speaking as 5 years old child, but something much deeper. This is how it works, what the tokens are, right? So because understanding the architecture of language model is key to understand how we're going to deploy it and how we're going to use it. When product people comes and business leaders come to discussion, I usually recommend them that we can deploy it in a certain way for a certain task.
And if you can share any, what we call as your learning experience or maybe tips for anyone, if someone want to get from you, that if they what they should be doing it.
It's a very good question. So what I learned from my experience is that mistakes are very expensive, especially when you're dealing with architecture. Architecture is a kind of foundation.
Right.
If you put a wrong architecture, then all the rest will be wrong. But there's one important thing. The strategic vision is the key. Not architecture itself, but strategic vision. If you get wrong strategic vision, it doesn't matter how good your architecture is and how good your engineers are. You just create a product for no one and it doesn't matter how good it is, right? If no one can use it. So
Okay.
to me, it's very important to understand the strategic. So, for example, if we take generative AIs, we understand how we're going to use it, why we have to why we have to deploy these AIs in our system, in our organization, or what we're going to use it for. That's key question.
Okay. And subsequent to this one, do you see the role of enterprise architects maybe splitting into more of specialized roles, maybe chief AI architect or head of AI strategy or something? Are you observing such foreseeing?
I see enterprise architecture as something which is, like ownership.
Right.
And under this hood, there could be different other architects, such as architects for AI architects, solution architects, maybe some other enterprise architects, because it's just naming. Enterprise architecture may include several enterprise architects within. So when we're talking about the ownership of the whole architecture, so I think it shall be combined from different types, of course.
Okay. And what are some of the most like overhyped aspects of generative AI that enterprise architects need to be aware of? I mean, they need to be conscious.
I think not only enterprise architects, but I think
Anyone,
everyone
let's put it, yeah.
who may use it. What I see is try to substitute the real person with the AI, because AI right now at this stage, they don't have any thoughts out of the context you're given in. So they don't worry about the politics. They don't worry about dollar rate. They don't worry about any other things which surround us. And therefore, they produce the result which is taken out of the real world. And moreover, they cannot invent something. What I do is the combining and producing the most probable. The biggest mistake enterprise architect or everyone can make is trying to make all the tasks, not the routine tasks, every task which surrounds him with with the AI.
Okay.
So sometimes
Now,
people are important.
so thank you so much for that. Now, as you know, there was a trend of becoming a cloud native.
Mhm.
Are you observing that now uh, there's a trend of that AI native or the AI ready enterprise? Have you observed this something which is coming or organizations looking? And is there any foundational elements, if you observed it, that can be in place, like, data governance infrastructure or anything which so is there a mindset that, okay, we need to be now AI native, AI ready?
There's AI native raise security concerns. If we have data, obviously we do when we're talking about AI, we have to guarantee that this data is first, it's collected and stored within our organization. The second one, that is split between access levels. So, for example, the owner of organization or board director can overlook whatever he wants within the organization. Say, if I'm a support team member, I see only what is related to my work, not everyone else's salary, right? Which we put into this AI as well. So this model shall be split, access shall be split, and knowledge shall be split. I don't see any 100% AI ready enterprises at this moment. Maybe they will arise in a couple of years, but right now we are working towards it. But it's still, as I said, in very early days.
Okay, now maybe last couple of questions before we conclude our session, and thank you so much for spending time with us. Now, as all AI Gen AI use cases are dependent on data, right, and the data quality. Now, our biggest, as a data architecture elements which we worked over so many years, this issue is still there, even if you bring or talk to Gen AI. Have you observed any lessons learned that, okay, how to address these data silos, which traditionally were the challenge? And now, as organization or enterprises need to go to the more adopt to the Gen AI, they need to first fix this one, and that's become the fundamentals or foundation for adopting to the Gen AI.
Very good question. Okay, let's split it into two. First one, we had before AI, our epoch before AI, we had data, we worked it through and produced some outcome. Now we do the same, but we instead of working it through, we put it into AI and like in the black box, and in the output of this black box, we observe the result, which may look realistic, but we cannot check it. We cannot 100% verify. For example, one medical organization which I worked with used a patient's data to feed into AI and to produce a kind of diagnosis. Say 90% of cases, 95% of cases, that's all close to the reality. In other 5%, it will look like close to reality. But if we compare that with the real doctor's output, that will completely different. And what I see here is that we have to develop this layer, verification layer, right, to verify the output of the AI.
Okay, you're true, right? Well, last question. So now, as the adoption is started increasing, so the questions started coming to guardrails, right? All those data privacy, security, and ethical use. So, is this something on the priority list for foreign organizations?
Yes, Guardrails is very important to secure the place AI will use within the organization. Not only using AI, we helping other team members to use it properly, to train it properly, to understand the responsibility. That's AI doesn't take your responsibility. If you are a prompt engineer, a professional future prompt engineer, if you are a prompt engineer, you are responsible for outcome. Like you were designing what you just requested for AI. It's just a tool to speed up the process, not the substitution of the real human brain and skills.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining. If someone want to reach out to you or maybe want to contact you to learn about more, what is the right medium to do that?
They can get into my website, maxtg.com. They also may reach out me via LinkedIn. I think you can share LinkedIn with our listeners.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, go
Thank
ahead,
you.
please.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for spending time with us.